Hello and welcome to A Scene for Vampire by Gaslight. Um, Jonas Polka was on his way back from arranging a meeting that he has yet to have when he runs across the Seneschal, who, not too uncertain terms, told him to look into the events at Sir Trance, because his expertise has already been called for regarding one of these creatures, and lacking any actual experts to do with weird vicissituded monsters, they're going to ask the doctor to do his best. The Seneschal will share that he suspects them to be of vampiric origin, not anything to do with the werewolves. And that he suspects that there may well be a nest somewhere in the city, but he doesn't know where, and he wants you to find some more information. So, we will begin the scene near Sir Trant's asylum, with Jonas heading towards the asylum, presumably not really having been given much of a choice. But much of a choice is still a choice. Does Jonas go?
Well, that's the thing. If my schedule has been pre-planned for tonight, that's just a whole lot less headache on myself. I'm a good boy. I take instructions. How do you think I got through all my labs?
Precisely. So on his way there, he may very well meet someone else that is heading there for the same reasons. Lisa.
Not unless he makes a perception awareness check.
Well, I can certainly do that. Will my level of Auspex help me here?
Yes.
Alright.
If you're
Usually this
using
is a
it,
difficulty of 7.
If it's active, yeah.
Yeah. Usually it's a difficulty of 7, plus or minus the comparative discipline levels. I'm going to guess they're the same.
Obfuscate 2.
Yep, it's the same, so it's difficulty 7 for me. Rolling 6. Ow! The 1 success, and I believe you beat me quite handily.
Yeah, it's 4 successes.
Cool,
A
cool.
thorough trouncing of hiddenness.
Yep. Okay. You're being followed, but you do not know this.
There is an unseen presence behind me. Ignore it. And I do so. While walking towards the asylum that I know that Sir Trant goes ahead and governs over.
Well, when you get to the, is this the night before, or is this a new evening?
It is a new evening. It's actually not only a new evening, it is the day after that. So, Floki has gone home. He hasn't told you he hasn't told you that he's found anything, but presumably is looking into stuff during the night before. And it is now the night after that.
Right. Okay.
You'll find that it was quite hard to get in touch with Jonas the night previous.
Didn't you say that it would end up being Valentine's Day today?
No, today is the 15th.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, it was Valentine's Day the next day.
Okay. Well then, the front stoop is clean, and the door now has not only one lock, but two.
Quite interesting. He makes the comment to himself about the presumably increased security because that one lock looks newer than the other lock, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Good man. Continues on.
Well, when you get to the door, you will be greeted by a individual and asked, who may I say is calling, and who do you wish to see?
My name happens to be Professor Polka. I am here under the invitation of Sir Trant. Can you please see me to him?
Please step in, and I will get someone to let him know you're coming.
No. I think you should, guide me there.
All right. Well, he'll.
You're the first man I see on this particular campus, and you're the last person I expect to see on this particular campus. I do not expect to see an intermediary of different faces. I am a busy man.
All right. Well, after you come in, he'll then lock the door behind him, and then he'll go up to another door with a new lock and an old lock. Open that and allow you in.
Let me ask you this. Jonas is going to go ahead and activate his heightened senses just for a moment during this whole procedure of opening and closing the doors and opening and closing the doors again. How dusty does this particular how dusty does this particular structure seem? Is it completely covered with dust? Is it minimally covered with dust? Is it day-to-day stuff? Or is it completely stock clean?
Pretty clean.
Much to your detriment. Jonas goes ahead and makes the mental note. But he continues, he follows quite dutifully, not knowing that there is an invisible presence behind him.
And just a thought, would Lisa like to make some sort of stealth roll because of all this two people in the same room doing the same thing? Or shall we just go on?
We can make the roll if you want, but I don't think she's going to fail it.
There's always the chance to botch, which she doesn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And given that he's ordinary human and we'll see he's already had the chance, we'll just say it works. And you're led up to Sir Trent's door. There's a knock.
Knock, knock.
He'll say, a moment, and Sir Trent, make sure that the rat is underneath in his area, and that the plate is not showing, and that the bed and everything else in the room is perfectly well. And he'll accept and open the door. Yes? There's a Professor Polka here to see you? Ah, show him in.
And Jonas will walk into your office, my good sir.
Very good.
He'll go ahead and greet you quite handily with a smile and extend his hand. Good evening, Sir Trant. How did this evening find you?
I have to say, it was better than a few evenings before, but not perfect yet.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So
Let's go like this. Explain to me why you have called me this evening.
I remember that you had a fondness for the soil samples under that creature's nails.
Mm-hmm.
I happened to find very similar samples on a particular piece of wood, and I thought it might be of scientific interest, maybe to compare these samples and see if they're in fact from the same area or similar areas.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
Okay.
Do you mind telling me where you found these samples?
It was on a wooden door in the claw marks, in a claw mark area of the door.
Really? A door has been clawed? But where? Where has a door been clogged? Is it somewhere close to the city? Is it somewhere far into the countryside that Floki and his kind routinely retreat to? Where?
If we take a walk down the hall, you can see the clawed door.
Ah, interesting. There is a great many things that you have not told me yet, like the reason I am actually here. Start from the beginning, Sir Trant.
Well, I have to say, being a man who uh, has many kind going through and to and fro through his domain, you have to say you feel a certain responsibility for them. And how would you feel if someone came in and stole one of your wards, shall we say?
I think to myself that my security is severely lacking, and then proceed a tirade of insults towards my own self, and then finding the particular burglar and ending his life, so that I will never have to worry about that particular security breach ever again. But, Sir Trant, imagine that I know nothing about what's going on.
Alright. I return home. I see... I come home. I see a dog excrement on my front stoop. And then I see 3 people, uh, all looking very chaste and upset. I find out that this dog stole one of my attendant's keys and took while the keys were busy and the attendants were busy running after it, something slipped in, tore the door off of its hinges, and stole one of my patients.
A rat's going to come out from under the bed, by the way.
Ooh.
Well, it seems we have your culprit here, my good Sir Trant, as Janice is going to go ahead and walk over to that particular bed. And isn't it the most adorable little thief, isn't it? Reaching out towards it. I do not have it inoffensive to animals, so it should react accordingly.
Yep. It's going to pee on you.
I'm going to slap it.
No, it's going to pee on you and then run off in like the same motion. It's like pee, run.
Mr. Polka, before you try and squash that is a rat from a Dr. Thanatos.
Dennis is getting a handkerchief from his pocket and wiping his hands off, putting it back into his pocket, turning up towards you. Okay, so a burglar has come into your home, And you have apprehended one of the suspects, that rat over there, and that rat happens to belong to a Mr. or a Dr. Thanatos. Well, I believe you have your culprit right there.
Dr. Thanatos gave me the rat after the burglary. Also, Dr. Thanatos was called in by our Seneschal to help in this investigation.
Very, very interesting. But please do continue your story. You came home, there was excrement on your front door, you had found out that somebody may have perhaps slipped through your security, and then I believe we come towards the case of the door.
Yes, as I said, it was pulled off the hinges, and and the person and the individual was stolen from her bedroom/cell.
Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Now, let us suppose that this wooden door is where you found these soil samples that directly relate to the creature that was discovered only weeks before, right?
Right.
Seems to me that both the creature and the burglar, wherever it happens to be, must come from the same location or must work around the same type of soil samples.
That is correct.
If that is true, then what you may be required to do is to track down the different soil samples around the surrounding area, cross-match with the sample that you already have right now, and then try to determine where their operating area may be. Have you taken any second look or second notice about the body, about the creature that was found?
Well, given that Christian took the body after you're finished, I've not been able to look at it since, but I now think that that maybe we should compare the claw marks on the door to what the claw marks could have been, if they could have been made by such a creature.
Let us assume for the moment that they were created by such the same creature. Let us assume that this particular creature, since it was able to have the intelligence to slip through, maybe it is a more cognizant cousin of the creature that we found, or maybe the creature that we found is cognizant, is just more lost to its own beast. Let us presume that it is of this same creature. Same soil samples. Right. Here's what I've been able to tell from the creature that we found. I figured out that the creature was vampiric in nature, had been embraced, but had only been embraced for a few months, barely a year out, I would presume. I figured this due to how the assorted pieces that were taken from it, the assorted samples, decayed over time. And it seemed like only a few months had been decayed. Now, looking at the structure of this creature, you would assume that its horrific nature was its purpose. No, that was the form and the style that was produced. The function is actually inefficient, at least for this particular design. I look at its ligaments, the skeletal structure, how easy it was and how obvious creature it was. I can only presume that whoever created this creature focused more on style than of form, or could just be simply just inexperienced in the craft. Now, looking at the creature itself, it would have taken quite a lot of time to actually create it. And creating such a creature presumes a workshop of sorts, presumes a steady supply of materials and reading materials as well, textbooks and the like, several different journals. What I'm suggesting to you, Sir Tramp, that whoever created this particular creature may have started up in this area in Edinburgh only a year, if that, and has been practicing the discipline for a few months. This experiment may have simply gotten away from him, escaped, whatever have you. I suggest that when you examine the soil samples, you will find an area where a workshop may be found, a craftsman workshop, in this case of a particular discipline. Track the soil. This is what I suggest to you.
And if you were to think like said individual, as you are an educated man who possibly has a workshop like this man, where would you set it up when you have to hide such things?
Are you asking for a description of the workshop, the exterior, or the interior? Because I will admit ignorance about how in the world you create a crafting shop for flesh within. But I can tell you what I would look for in an external structure.
Then please, do explain what you look for in an external structure.
If it was me, I would require a certain level of privacy, and a certain level of security, and a certain level of just space. If the only way I could gain a sort of privacy would be to go ahead and travel far, far out of Edinburgh into the more rural countryside, then so be it. That may restrict my own particular habits, but that will be the price that I pay for privacy. If I was looking for some sort of security, well, there are locks to be had, there are bars to be made, there are strong, sturdy structures that you can build the materials out of, but I wouldn't necessarily build it from the ground up. I would take a structure that was already there, perhaps a barn house, or perhaps the barn itself, perhaps some sort of silo or whatnot. I would go ahead and try to reinforce the different entrances and exits with my own particular security precautions, strong iron, heavy padlocks, the like. And if I was looking for some sort of size, I would definitely look towards a more open structure. Probably a barn or silo, or perhaps even a stable, if that would suit me more kindly. In fact, you know what? A stable would actually be the better choice, being that you would be able to keep all your different specimen and subjects in separate enclosures, while the main area would be your main workspace, taking out the different specimens as you would like.
Very true. Anyway, I take it you don't want a look at this soil sample, since you have another to compare it?
Oh, but how am I to be sure that the same samples corresponds to the same location? No. If you have a pocket of such to hand me over, please do so that I can compare.
Very good. And with that, he'll go into the bag and pull out a glass container with soil sample.
Is this all the sample? That looks meager. Looks barely comparable. I'm sorry.
We have not moved the I did give some of the soil to Dr. Thanatos. If you could check the door again and see if there you can get a bigger sample.
That would be mightily preferable, but for now, Jonas goes ahead and extends his hand.
I'll hand it over.
Puts it into his pocket in his vest. Do. Alright. Now, is that the entirety of the story that you have currently given me?
Yes. I have. After that, I went to the Seneschal and let him know that I believe that the creature, or whoever is controlling the creature, is making trouble in the city so that he could inform others.
Alright. Why don't you lead me on to the scene of the crime so that I may make my own observations.
Very good. And with that, he'll exit and lead Mr. Polka to the cell.
Little description of the cell, I should say.
I didn't really. I've been leaving it up to Deb, but I'd say that the size you would say is the what you'd expect from this day and age, and the door has claw marks in the front, pulled off the hinges, and
It's a large steel door. It's not the thickest, and it's got a bit of rust to it, but it's sturdy enough that it would hold someone fairly securely, presuming they were human. There's huge claw marks on it, and it has been knocked into the cell.
When you walk out into the corridor, you see Annie leaning against the wall near the cell, not in the cell. And she's eating an apple, and she's sharing it with a rat. She just watches you as you walk past and inspect the cell. And smiles if you look in her direction.
Ignores. Walking on.
I'm going
This
to.
This is my domain. I assume you have invited her.
Wait. So Trent's going to raise an eyebrow, and let's see if he connects the dots that he's seen you before.
Well, if you want to, I believe there is a role for
You have seen her. You have seen her before.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I know. But
I'm saying
right. I would like to make a wits awareness roll.
Okay.
Unless, here's the thing. Do you choose to break obfuscate within our line of sight, or do you choose to break it when we're out of sight?
She's broken it when you're in the office, and now she's just standing there waiting for you to come out.
Wits awareness.
Okay.
3. Rolling. Typically 7. Oh, for the love of fuck. Nope. You have appeared in midair, and I have no recollection of you ever being not there. So Jonas is going to go ahead and ignore the Nosferatu that appeared and go back to his particular investigation. He's not too flustered, being that this isn't his domain or his haven.
Well, given that you're outside, he'll raise an eyebrow, and his mind will be like, But please forgive me 1 second. I'll see to you in a minute, and then he'll show Polka. This is the cell, and this is the door. Please feel free to examine as you wish. I'm going to talk to this woman for a second.
Oh, please do so. I will be here busying myself with this crime scene. And Jonas will go ahead and get a pencil in his journal, start making notes to himself, investigating the scene of the crime. Do.
Okay. And Trent's going to look at the woman and go, now, is this the same face I saw at the train station and the Elysium? Alright. And I'll be like, aren't you a Ms. Anna or something?
She's conversing with the rat at the moment.
Oh.
And then she looks up at you and holds out a grubby hand towards you. That's me, Annie Price.
Ah, yes. And he'll shake your hand. I take it you are an associate of Dr. Thanatos?
She bites her lip and sort of gives you a sort of cheeky grin. Yeah, I see the doc from time to time. But that's not what I'm here about. I might have some information that you'd be interested in.
I see. So you have some information about this poor lost child.
She beckons you closer and she says, strictly on a need-to-know basis. Because... Well, it's between you and me.
Well, I believe I will be finished with Mr. Polka here soon, and then we can converse.
Alright.
Alright. And he'll come back to Mr. Polka and how is Mr. Polka examining the door?
The door is the least of his concerns at the moment. He's looking around the room. He's quite surprised that there is actually presumably no signs of a struggle, no blood splatter, nothing of the sort. Even supposedly a window, if there exists such a window, hasn't been, touched upon at all.
Yeah, it is very
the bed seems to have been moved recently.
Yes, and the pillowcase seems to be missing.
Interesting. Where is this pillowcase, I wonder quietly to myself, searching the cell for it.
How quietly did you mention that? Just wondering. Because when Sir Trent kind of hears you mention the word pillowcase, they'll go, oh, I can explain that one.
Wow, Sir Trent. Really, Sir Trent? I knew that some doctors practiced on their patients like that, but I thought with your condition you would be above such decencies.
You are so
But it is
lucky.
your domain. I will not speak ill of you, and in fact I will not share this information with anybody else.
You, Mr. Polka, if you'd let me finish.
Please do.
I had Floki here the day before, and him being able to converse with animals, I thought if I gave him something that smelled of the girl, he would be able to track her or at least be able, and if he found a girl, be able to identify if it was her or his animals by the pillowcase, scent on the pillowcase.
Quick question. Apparently there's a note in the chat, difficulty 5, frenzy test. Who?
Oh, probably me.
So you.
Yeah.
Yeah, humiliation.
Yeah, that kind of accusation does not sit well.
Frenzy,
Especially
frenzy,
with Victorian men.
frenzy.
Self-control, right? Okay,
Mhm.
that's good. I have 4 dice for that. 1, 2, 3.
Damn it!
Apparently, I can take a joke, even at one in such poor taste.
Alright, just repeat what you last said.
Alright, anyway. I gave said pillowcase to Mr. Floki so that he could allow his animals to smell that pillowcase and allow it to help in their search.
Okay, fair enough. That answers that question. But why was the bed moved? Jones is going to go ahead and examine the area it was moved from and where it was moved to.
It seems to usually reside in a corner, judging by the scuff marks on the floor, and has been dragged over near the door on more than one occasion, but not frequent enough to seem common. And it seems as though, judging by the scuff marks on the top of the bed and the bottom of the bed, it has been leaned on the bedstand at some point rather than on its feet.
Very interesting.
There's also a cut mark in the blanket.
A cut mark in the blanket. Jonas, for his part, is going to go ahead and look at this. Simply says, "Sir Trent, did you realize that one of your patients was trying to obstruct entrance to her cell?"
I know that she did this on one occasion. On one occasion, when I had brought someone into the asylum, she did not seem quite happy with him and blocked the little window in her cell.
Interesting, interesting. Is this a common practice amongst your female wards?
No. It was just her and the one, and as far as I know, the one time.
How sure are you of this? If she has repeated this practice a few times, she may have damaged her own sheets. For what reasons, I don't know. Jonas will actually walk to the more vacant part where the bed would actually be leaned up against in that particular corner. He's going to go ahead and crouch down and start to examine the wall and the floor with his hands, actually, to see if there's anything particularly interesting there. I don't suppose so, but always something you could do.
Nope, nothing particularly interesting there. It's a little bit damp, but that seems to be the problem with a lot of the cell. The whole cell is kind of chilly and damp and not particularly nice. But then it's a mental asylum. All of the cells are like that.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, we've examined the bed, we've examined the vacant part where the bed used to be. Any other structures here besides the door that has been broken through?
There is a small bookcase that seems half empty. and some paper scattered around, some chalks, some colouring pencils. It seems like there was a lot more in this cell than there are in most of the cells, but it's still not much.
Interesting. Jonas, for his part, is going to start collecting the shreds of paper that have fallen over, collecting them into one little neat bundle, and then go ahead and move them towards the bookcase, actually. Once he does, he's going to examine the titles of the books and sort of shift around them, see if there's anything behind the books themselves or whatnot.
There's nothing behind the books. The books all seem to be children's books.
Jonas will go ahead and look towards Sir Trent. What was the age of your ward here?
That is an interesting event. Or, not event. This is an interesting question because her age was, did we say 20, 21?
But she spent over 15 years in the asylums. So
yeah, she's been in asylum institutions for the last 15 years. So she's not been allowed to develop mentally to that level. I'm sorry to say.
Interesting. Could you give me a more comprehensive profile, or whatever you have on this particular ward, like name, description, the like? I mean,
when I said children's books, think more end of primary school, early secondary school textbooks mixed in with fairy tales, rather than like 5-year-old kind of read the stories book.
No, I understand. In this particular era, they wouldn't think to publish those kinds of articles.
Okay.
I'm thinking Narnia. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Chronicles of Narnia here. Is there the Lion, Witch, or Wardrobe here, or what?
Yeah, there's probably one of those. A set of those that look a bit battered.
In 1889?
No, the author wouldn't have been born. Don't worry about it. But a comparable author.
Okay.
That's a one maybe.
I was going to say, this child is really interesting if she somehow got a Chronicles of Narnia.
Continuing on.
She's a good governess.
Yeah. Doesn't change my particular line of questioning when I return to Sir Trent. It'll still be the same profile of your ward.
Well, she is named Cassandra, and I can't remember the last name. Deb, please fill me in if you have it in front of you.
I can't remember either. Let's just go with Cassandra Wentworth.
All right, Cassandra Wigworth or Migworth? Wentworth. Okay. And she's blonde. Looked kind of. She was kind of pretty, but very thin when she got here. She's kind of. I've insisted that any patients here, they get better feeding than in other institutions, so she's starting to look a little bit more healthier. And she has a propensity for religious symbols and religious mania.
Interesting.
Actually, Mr. Polka, if you would pick up the door, you would see a bit of something of that uh, mania as it was, as it is.
Unfortunately, I do not. Let us just say I am not fairly potent in my physical stature, but I believe with your help I may be able to lift this thing up and move it.
Ah, okay then.
Lift it up and moving the door. The
Yep.
heavy, cheap ass steel door.
It's not that heavy. It's cheap. It's a cheap version, essentially.
I have a strength of 2. It's heavy.
Yes.
Yes. It's still
It's
heavy,
heavy
but
enough to be awkward to move by yourself. Together, you can move it easily.
all right. And as you see, uh, it seems that did you say jug?
There is a bottle that looks to be full of white liquid, pouring into a teacup, but the drips that are coming out of the bottle and are heading into the teacup and seem to be in the teacup are red.
Looking over to Sarah Trant, I thought you explicitly stated that you did not have that kind of relationship with your ward.
I don't. This, I believe, is a religious symbolism of some sort of Jesus type thing. The water and the wine.
That is a fairly clear and white substance there that apparently seems to be pouring into another receptacle, but when it reaches the other receptacle, it has turned red. Correct?
The fact is, you can't color clear. She probably put in white because of it seemed like water.
Where did she get the dye?
The what?
The dye.
Chalk?
So you're saying that she took a piece of chalk, crumbled it up, poured it into the water, right?
No.
And then she goes ahead and sets up this contraption.
It's not a contraption, it's a picture drawn in chalk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't get that. Never mind.
Sorry, yes, it is a picture of drawn in chalk. There's a bottle which is pouring, and it's been coloured in to be like partway full of white. And but the drops that come out of the bottle are red, and the ones that are in the teacup are also red.
Okay, back up. Drawing instead of real thing. Okay, fair enough. John's just going to go ahead and look at this particular drawing that's been made in chalk on the back of the door. Interesting. If this Cassandra, right?
Yes.
If this Cassandra was left to her own devices, where do you think she would flee to?
That's the thing. I don't know. She's been in an institution like this since she was 14. I'm not even sure she knows where her parents live at this moment. But now that you've mentioned it, I will have to post. I will have to keep that little bit of information in mind. Find out where the parents are living at the moment. But she's in this type of institution these type of institutions for years. I don't know where she'd be, or where'd she think to go now.
Very, very interesting. Do you know which asylum she was previously stationed? Because, and this is what I'm thinking, perhaps she was taken from her previous institution on somebody else's whim, so that she could be picked up here in Edinburgh. This could be a conspiracy that has been several months in the making.
I believe the institution in London will have to be researched a little better then.
What do you think? Actually, what do you think is the motive for the kidnapping?
The girl was strange and seemed to be, and even for her mania, seemed quite intelligent and insightful. Maybe they were looking for an intelligent individual that wouldn't be missed.
But you could get many, many intelligent individuals that will not be missed. There are many young minds in this country. What I'm suggesting to you, Sir Trant, and you may call this paranoia, what I'm suggesting that if you were stationed in London and you had many, many things that you would like to move out here to the country to Edinburgh, but you had many, many things that you could not take with you, could not travel with you. Packages, people, the like, that you did not want tracked yourself, but still needed traveled. How would you do it?
Oh dear Lord, I'm so dumb. That thing. He must be here.
Who? What? Sir Trant, you must not dally, you must not hesitate. Tell me, what are you thinking?
Well, I was talking with the child. She said that there had been certain experiments at the other asylum. I thought it might be a Malkavian, much like myself, trying to improve the condition of the people in the asylum by sharing their blood.
Ah, now you have the root of the matter, Sir Trant. Perhaps, and just going to go ahead and gesture over to one side of the cell and sort of huddle up with Sir Trant. Perhaps this is a kindred such as one of ourselves who currently was stationed at London who has decided to make a breakout for the country. It could very, very possibly be that he stored such an individual as Cassandra within one particular domain, such as the London Asylum, and then had her transferred over here to Edinburgh in preparations for his own transfer out to the country. Now, let me ask you this, Sir Trant. Why were you keeping Cassandra in such a well-to-do condition, and why would a kindred such as yourself also do so within London, if not preparing her, grooming her for something even more important than a simple ghouling?
That's the thing. Now here's the interesting thing. I was not given instructions to improve this girl's condition.
You did it all by yourself, didn't you? It was an instinct, wasn't it? It just came naturally. You called, or were called out. You were convicted by this Cassandra, her condition, or maybe it's something a little bit more insidious, a little bit more manipulative, a little bit more subtle and behind the scenes. Like I said, this could be a conspiracy months or even years in the making, my good sir.
Anyway. Yes. Anyway, the soil sample, please get more, and Since this is the first time seeing you, uh, uh, I should inform you that you know those two. Sorry. You know the student who jumped to his death?
Yes.
Yes. I tracked it down. The set to a certain class. The first in class seems to be going to be the next target. You might want to examine and I can't think of the name right now. Yeah, a Brian something or other.
Very, very interesting. I will have to look in on
Wilberforce. Look into a Brian Wilberforce and make sure that he's not acting weird, because I believe he's going to be the next one who is hexed. Hopefully, this is not also connected to this conspiracy, because if it's that large, it will be quite bad.
Okay, fair enough. These hex scenes cannot continue on the student body for much longer. Otherwise, people will start saying that Edinburgh University is cursed, that there is something stalking the students just behind the scenes, something that calls out for their very, very sanity and soul. Wouldn't that be a crazy thing for the kind to start talking about?
Right.
Something stalking them during the night, turning them mad.
Yes, they'd start putting other ideas in their head, which would be very bad.
Yeah. In any case, I will go ahead and take these soil samples to myself, go ahead and compare them, and see about looking into a geology almanac around Edinburgh.
Very good. And while I am concerned with this, I will also keep a ear out for the problems of the university and its student body as well.
Of course, of course, of course. So Trent, a curious thing happened to me the other day.
Yes?
Have you perchance visited a certain nightclub, a new nightclub that seems to have sprouted out within the nooks and crannies of Edinburgh?
Would this be the Serpent Den?
Serpent's Nest, Serpent Den, something of the like.
Yes, I went there with Angelique when I heard that this Brian Wilberforce was going to go to this club. And Angelique, against my better judgment, decided if we're there to watch him, he would be much safer than if he went himself. I would have preferred if he had not gone at all, but yes.
Very interesting. What did you see there?
Well, it seems to be a rather I wouldn't say crass, but a rather upscale club where men and women can all go women while smoking and drinking.
Interesting. There wasn't anything there that would explain away Brian's behavior besides the various amounts of alcohol and the visual stimulation, would it?
No. Last I saw him, I gave him the idea to go home and go to bed. when did has he been acting strange, or what happened?
It seems as if he is missing some of his classes. Habitually.
Okay, you should definitely try and or at least put your eye on him and see what his physical condition is, because I don't. Maybe the vampire in this club is sneakier than I suspected, and somehow.
Oh my god, you're... wait, go back. There was
What?
a kindred? There was a kindred in that club?
Yes, one of the dancers.
Which one?
I don't know if they gave her. Did they give her name? When she started dancing?
Not that you noticed at the time.
They didn't. Not that I noticed. I don't think they gave her name, but she was dancing a burlesque dance with green flames.
Very, very disturbing, actually. Have you ever met this kindred before? Has she introduced herself to court?
Not that I know of, but then again, maybe she introduced herself to the prince in a private audience.
She may have, or she did?
She may have. I don't know.
For now, I'm presuming Angelique was also made aware of the kindred.
No, but I did make Christian aware.
Fair dues, Sir Trent. Fair dues. Blink. Blink. Breathe. Breathe. You can tell that this is a conscious effort to blink and breathe. It's almost as if he was thinking about something, trying really, really hard to look human at this very, very moment. These are things that don't quite come natural to Jonas right now. You can tell that he suffers from a lag. He has to think, blink, 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 and then breathe, breathe, breathe.
Would these blinks and breathing happen to spell out Morse code?
No, but if you want to make a perception empathy check.
Okay. I'm going to say, yeah, that's 6 dice. I don't know why I keep having to check it, but because I keep rolling them, but yeah. Yeah, I can't make perception empathy checks this week.
Okay, you notice nothing. Unless that was a botch.
No.
Okay.
There was a 6.
Apparently Jonas's face and demeanor is unreadable to you at the moment. I'll give you this one for free. If you botched, he would have seemed really, really concerned about you and your particular predicament. He'd be really, really concerned about returning you and your very, very deviant lover back to this particular cell.
Anyway.
With this, Jonas will just go ahead and say, yes, that is all well and good then, Sir Trent. I will go ahead and keep an eye on this Brian fellow, make sure he doesn't come to much harm, or that his sanity does not deteriorate all too much. And I will go ahead and cross-reference these soil samples. If there's nothing else, you could please see me out.
of course. And Deb, you can make a ruling. Has Lisa's character disappeared, or will she be returning? Deb? Is it just me and Austin at the moment?
Sorry, I missed that. What was the question?
Will Lisa be coming back?
No, she will not.
Okay, so Nausea in the hallway has somehow disappeared again.
Yep. She's left
Okay.
something behind in your room when you get back there, but...
Okay. Then we will follow that whole scene. I will take Mr. Polka to the front and have the attendants unlock the doors and show him out.
One thing before Jonas totally leaves, even goes ahead and turns around. Do you require that blanket, actually, that had that tear in it?
No.
Could you kindly bring it to me? I may have somebody skilled enough with second sight in order to give you even more information about what may have transpired.
Very good.
And
It'll
Jonas
go.
will simply wait there.
We'll go get the blanket, fold it up neatly as possible, and bring it back to Jonas.
Thank you. Away now. You have a pleasant evening, and please, 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 please do not let last night's or the night before's tragedies bemoan you too overly much. Tonight is a new night with new possibilities.
The same for you.
And Jonas goes ahead and walks off with this package in his arms, as well as the vial, and whatever else he may have brought.
And the Trent will, well, since the Nosferatu has disappeared, perhaps they're not happy at waiting with Mr. Polka to leave. He'll go back to his room and look around.
And he will find some notes left on the table.
Oh. And take a look at the notes.
Yeah, there is a map with a warning not to go there without permission. But it's to it's somewhere near the woods.
Okay.
But it seems to be underground. And there's also information that someone spotted a man with an eye patch carrying a woman in a nightdress. There's no idea if that is the woman that he's looking for or not, but someone in a nightdress was being carried by someone in an eye patch. And that Dr. Thanatos should be visiting him shortly.
And with that, Sir Trent will look at the place of the note, the map. Think maybe he should ask Floki to send a few rats or bats or other creatures there. And then he'll bend over and look at the plate to see if the rat has eaten everything. If so, he'll get rid of anything that looks like it has been gnawed on to conspicuously by rat, and then he'll go and gather another plate and then push it under the bed for Thanatos rat.
Nothing seems to have been nibbled on too much.
Okay. And also, he'll take a few wooden tongue depressors and put it under the bed as well. And I guess that's it until Dr. Santo shows up.
Okay, and there the scene will end.